What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hard Hat Highlights, episode 26, which is hosted on our YouTube channel called GlazzGuy. This is where Jason and I talk about some of the wins and losses or lessons we've learned during the work week. And then Jason has scoured the internet for all the latest and hot topics and headlines for us to unpack here, maybe add a little bit of humor to your day. But without further ado, Jason Ryback, how the hell are you?
I am doing wonderful. It's Friday. I'm feeling great. How about you?
I'm doing good, but you know, as entrepreneurs, we often have a lot of difficult decisions to make.
Oh, you've started loading estrogen and saving up for that chop and swap surgery?
Chop and swap. No, I'm not going to go through that. Not just yet.
Okay.
However, we've had to make some changes here within the business. And
that's right.
You and I both know that some changes need to be made for a little while now. However, I think a lot of people would agree that sometimes we know we need to make decisions, but we don't necessarily do it right away because it could be uncomfortable, or maybe there's not a solution, or as you know, the fear of the unknown can be crippling to some people, if not most people. But we're here to tell you, after our 21 years of experience together, that if your gut is telling you a decision needs to be made, that you should always listen to your gut. And as hard as it might be in the moment, things happen to unlock after that's done, and the water starts to flow much better, which I think we've seen as of recently.
Absolutely. You always trust your gut, and you can overcome and adapt.
Change is good.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
We've made a lot of changes over the years.
We have, and you have to change. You can't stay stagnant forever. No,
because the next ambitious entrepreneur within your niche is going to be creeping and crawling up your coattails, and if you're just staying stagnant, it's not a question if they'll pass you by, it's just a question of when.
Right. Speaking of difficult situations, we just are coming out of one now.
Yeah, this one, I actually really wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of people can relate to this. During the summertime, we had, there was probably 2 months before the election finally happened where it just seemed like it was difficult to do business. People were very tight with the money. They weren't making decisions as quick as they have been over the last, I don't know, half a decade. And we saw an opportunity. We talked to an opportunity that had a lot of red flags, but because we were desperate in that time, we kind of muddled through that and ended up doing a deal.
Right.
So much so that we had the contractor bring the customer in to see our stuff here in the showroom. We did detailed shop drawings that we gave to the contractor to then give to the homeowner. And after doing this install, the homeowner hated it. It is not what she wanted at all, which is mind-numbing to me.
Because you saw it in person.
You saw it in person. You touched it. You felt it. You got shop drawings, inspirational photos. And so this kind of went back and forth. Contractor didn't want to pay because he's not getting paid for the homeowner. We did the job. We offered a solution to make it better for whatever reason the homeowner wanted. But the contractor was apprehensive about making good on the first payment before we moved into the second stage of the project. And I will say that looking back, and we finally got paid and the situation's been squared off, but looking back on it, if we went back to the beginning, there was a number of red flags that I think this would have been one of those jobs that we would have been better off just punting on if we weren't in such a drought at that time.
And sometimes it's worth it just to punt.
How do we prevent ourselves from allowing that to happen again in the future?
Exactly what just happened to us. You learn from your mistakes.
I have a feeling you and I have, not only do we generally like to learn our lessons the hard way, but typically when it costs us money or time, which is kind of synonymous with the same, you have a tendency to remember those a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. You burn your hand on a stove, you're not going to touch it again, right?
Typically, and this was one of those cases.
Well, we've seen a lot of patterns with difficulties. Like if we have a difficult week or maybe a difficult month, if you stay with it, it tends to come back around, right?
I couldn't agree more. I would even go as far to say if we judged the entire last year, as a difficult year. Even though we put up a number and we felt very good about that, it was a difficult year. We had to scratch and claw to see new opportunities, to close deals, kind of, just to keep everything moving.
Right.
But this year, because we were able to persevere and overcome some adversity and move into the new year, it seems like the floodgates have opened and the amount of opportunities that have been coming through are extremely plentiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, that resilience is really paying off, because I think all those people that were kind of holding back are now ready to say, okay, I feel comfortable. I can spend money now, and we're starting to see it here. Hopefully all of you are seeing that as well.
So the lesson here is, when as an entrepreneur, or even as we like to call it, intrapreneur, if you're in a sales associate within a company, if you're struggling or going through some difficult times, you should be considered lucky, because right on the back side of that is going to be the good times. And anybody that's worth anything in their niche can tell you they've gone through these ups and downs. This is just part of the growth pattern, just like anything else. We work out 5 days a week here. Some days are hard nosed and you just don't want to do it, but you come in anyway. It might not be the best workout, but you get it done. But, we're starting to see a lot of our, the benefits that come from the consistency.
It probably doesn't hurt that we mess with each other if you don't want to show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bust each other's balls.
Well, always remember, things could be worse. Have you seen that plane crash that just happened in D.C.? All those people, all of them died.
Okay, so I know that's a very touchy subject to talk about, but you and I have both flown many of times, and we've flown in a private setting too with headsets on, so we can hear the air traffic controller talking to the pilot.
Yeah.
The amount of communication that is mandatory when flying in an airplane is well more than I ever thought was happening. But to know that a plane is descending and pretty damn close to the runway with it, I just don't even see how that happens with the air traffic controller and the radars and everything that goes on. I don't even know how that happens.
As I understand it, the helicopter was on VFR, so visual, and the plane was on instrumental. And the helicopter was at 200 feet. That's where it was flying at. The plane was at 350 feet and descending slowly on its approach into the runway. For some reason, apparently, the helicopter ended 100 feet higher than it was approved to be, and almost took a direct west-northwest turn into the flight path of the plane. It's very, very strange.
Yeah, I still can't wrap my head around it. And I've said this before, and I'm sure we're going to get heat for this, because I feel extremely bad for everybody that was on those planes and helicopters, and then, of course, all the families and everybody connected to those people. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
Right.
That said, when I see things like this throughout our media and over the last decade or so, it almost, and maybe just I'm a cynical person, but I almost feel like, was this done intentionally? Why did this happen? It just seems...
Something seems off.
Something doesn't smell right to me. And my intuition's saying, I don't like what's happened here.
Well, let's take that out of the picture, right? Aside from that, you talked about all the communication that happens, and we know how that's one of the reasons why I think I could never fly a plane, because there's so much like going on. I'd go nuts.
And you can't just pull over and take your, calm down. It's real time.
Absolutely. So you've got all that going on. Now imagine you're going into one of the busiest airports in the country that recently has added more destinations out of that airport. So there's more flights coming in, so it's even more high traffic. Then you've got all these military helicopters in the area, and you have all restricted airspace around there because it's the capital. Go ahead.
The one thing I don't understand, and obviously it's a plane, it's not a drone, but we fly drone. I have a drone I fly for filming some stuff. And I was at my parents' 2 weekends ago, and now they live pretty close to RSW Airport, but they're still like 3 or 4 miles away.
Yeah.
You cannot lift that drone up a certain footage because it's completely restricted.
Right.
And the instrument recognizes that. You're telling me in these helicopters or planes, in that flight path, that there's no provision, like some alert or beep going, hello, you're in a flight path, you're not supposed to be here, ground the plane immediately.
From what I understand, that was due to the altitude they were at. Because obviously when you're higher up, you do have, it's called, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's like it alerts you that there's a plane nearby, you're ready to hit something, you better make a move. And I actually was with Doug one time when that happened, and we had to do what they call the turn and climb, or climb and turn. So they instructed us to go up, and we had to just head off to the side to avoid a plane that was coming. But you think about that, you've got all that traffic in the air, and oftentimes they're only a few hundred feet away from one another. So one small little mistake can cause this. And pilots have been pushing for years for them to reform this particular airport because of all this. And they said this was going to happen, and it finally happened. And there was actually, I don't know if you saw this, there were several near misses in the days leading up. With helicopters and planes. In fact, the night before there was one with a plane coming out of our old home airport, Bradley.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't miss it up there, by the way. But something just doesn't smell right to me here, and I hope they get to the bottom of it. Again, prayers to all the people involved. Feel extremely bad for them. In this day and age, something like this shouldn't be happening.
Absolutely.
But I'm sure something's going to come out.
Well, as if planes falling out of the sky wasn't bad enough, scientists are predicting there's an asteroid that could hit Earth in December 2032.
Like the movie Armageddon?
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to send up some well drillers and blow it up?
I don't know if Bruce Willis is going to do any good.
I don't think he will.
But yeah, this asteroid, they say it's large enough, it wouldn't destroy the Earth like in Armageddon, but it's large enough where it could decimate a large city.
Which one?
Good question. Good
yeah,
question.
do they know where it's going to go yet? And when they say scientists say this, who do they actually mean? Anytime I see something that says scientists predict, scientists believe, who are these fucking scientists? I want to know their names, credentials, who's paying them.
Well,
just to make sure there's because I've heard this, Y2K was supposed to be the end of the computers, this millennium, it was the end of the earth. We've heard this time and time again.
Right.
So
you got to follow the money.
Yeah.
Who's paying them, like you said.
You're not wrong.
Now, on the bright side, they did say it's only a 1.3% chance that it'll hit us. But if
a 1.3% chance. Okay.
It's still a chance.
It's still a chance. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If we get to, when we get to 2032, assuming we're still both in unbelievable shape like we are now, kicking ass and selling glass, which we will be. I like that, kicking ass and selling glass.
Okay.
If we're still kicking ass and selling glass in 2032, and a week before this asteroid, they confirm, holy shit, this thing's going to hit us, and based on the rotation, it's going to hit Detroit or Florida. What are you doing in your last week on this planet?
Oh, that's easy.
What?
I am camping out right on the side of Imperial Parkway at 6 a.m. with a stick, and I'm going to spoke every single one of those fucking e-bikes.
Those things are dangerous.
They are awful. Like, they basically have no regard. They think they own the road. And, man, I had actually a confrontation with one last week on my way home on Friday. Going down the road, it's 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. This guy's going 20, wobbling, mind you, on this bike like he didn't know how to ride. In the middle of the fucking road.
Which is, you can actually get a ticket for doing too far under the speed limit.
Yeah. So I stayed back knowing that he was bike. I didn't, ride his ass or anything. And so he finally pulls over into the left lane of oncoming traffic, which there wasn't traffic on this road really. And as I go by, he flips me off and he's like, fuck you. Like, are you kidding me? Because I stayed back, because I had the nerve to be behind you. These bikes, though, like the bikes and the scooters in the mornings, a lot of kids, a lot of people take them to work, and they pull right out in front of you. The headlights are bright as can be, so they're right in your face. It's just, they're dangerous.
Well, I can tell you, leaving, a lot of times when I leave my house, it's still dark out. And when I'm coming down the street to leave the neighborhood, there is a stop sign, but there's a bunch of hedges like all the way up to the stop sign. So even if I'm at the stop sign, I still have to kind of slowly go through the stop sign to be able to see to my right to see if any cars are coming. But there's a sidewalk right there. And I've grown to learn that I have to literally crawl through up for about 7 feet, because one time I was just going that 7 feet past the stop sign to get past the hedges, and one of these bikes, you know, when you're at a dead stop, they come flying by. So
Whammo.
It's dark in the morning.
I love it.
There's no light, and you can't hear them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a silent, so it's only a matter of time. So it scared the shit out of me. I consciously look for those things now, because that's my worst fear, is hitting somebody, especially unintentionally,
Yeah. And
because of all the problems. I don't have a problem hitting someone on a bike. It's just hitting someone on the bike, not knowing it, because now I'm going to get in trouble for it.
right. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the problem is.
Yeah.
Like, if they think they're fast enough to be on the road, they should not be on the sidewalk.
100%.
Yeah. Well, speaking of e-bikes, I think we should put our helmets on for this next one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, how are we looking here?
The tin hat conspiracy.
So on Google Maps in LA, there's this area near City Hall. I feel like this thing's gonna fall off my head, by the way.
Oh, it looks good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's this area near City Hall where there are the words "help" written out on the ground.
This is
from
in
the,
LA.
from the aerial view.
LA City Hall.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it's in that same area. They've also said that the other words have been written, such as FBI, federal, and then traffico and terrorismo, like trafficking and terrorism.
I haven't seen
So-
those words, but I have seen the help.
Yeah, so apparently this is near a shipping yard, and obviously, you know, shipping yards are known for human trafficking. And so other things people are saying is that there are like little holes, possibly tunnels in the ground. So there's a lot going on there. Now, locals are saying that there's a homeless man named Jose who's taking articles from the area, like, you know, maybe pipes or things on a construction site, and making all these words. But they say he's got a screw loose. So my question is, does Jose have a screw loose, or is he seeing things? Where else have you seen that stuff?
I saw some photos of it. The word help along a beach. Again, I think they were all out in California.
What were you watching, Castaway?
Yeah, Castaway. I think there were photos on a beach. Maybe it was scribed into the sand, and then further off the beach, it was on a roof. I think they painted help. Now, I don't know if that had to do with the fires that were going that way, but I don't think that area had the fires. That's it. I actually haven't. I saw some of this, but I didn't really dig into it. Well, is there any credibility behind them thinking that this? Did you say he's a homeless man?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Is he like a superhero? Is he trying to like uncover something that we don't know about by putting all this?
A superhero? Like what? Like shopping cart boy?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he stumbled across some cartel or something that's doing something nefarious, and this is his way of kind of tipping the scales for law enforcement or somebody to get. I mean, look at we're talking about it here in Naples.
Exactly. And is the misinterpretation of him having a screw loose? Maybe he's like Rain Man, right?
And who said he had a screw loose? This could be the people that say, "Oh, we don't need anybody kind of tipping their hand, so we'll just bash him and make him look like he's fucked up."
Yeah.
So people, lose his credibility.
It definitely seems like these calls for help and these SOSs on the ground certainly seem to be a California thing. Like, I feel like here in Florida, it's just a bunch of genitalia. Like arranging seashells in the shape of things.
Yeah. I like those.
Seashells or genitalia?
Both. I mean, I like looking at the photos. Actually,
Well,
this is really weird. I don't like looking at any of it.
Well, I can't wear this thing anymore.
Yeah, same.
Aside from human trafficking, narcotics is another big one. And one thing I know is you never could be married to a drug kingpin.
Why do you say that? What kind of drugs?
Costa Rican drug kingpin Luis Manuel Picada Grijalba Bayavola was just busted in the UK. He'd been on the run for quite some time.
How did he get busted?
Authorities tracked him down because his wife couldn't stop posting pictures on Instagram. Oh. A la K-Dog. Oh. Like, how unaware do you have to be?
That just goes to show she's either one of two things: extremely unaware, or because they've been getting away with, who knows how long has this person been? I mean, I think to be considered a drug kingpin, you've probably been in the drug business a long period of time. And if they hadn't traveled to the UK and they're in their home turf, they've probably paid off everybody and they can literally do anything they want. So it's almost like a sense of entitlement.
Yeah, you have this,
Kind of sounds like some of our...
implied immunity.
Yeah, or some of our politicians think they can get away with murder.
We had one of those one time.
What's that?
One of these situations with a former employee.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that's interesting that you said that. So I remember we had an installer that worked at my shower door that maybe 10 days after working there came in and, of course, I don't want to make light of anybody actually has back problems because I've had back problems. Having back problem is fucking brutal.
Right.
But faking you have a back problems even worse. And this person had claimed that he couldn't work. He actually had to quit his job because he hurt his back so bad. And, he had been there 10 days. He was a helper. I don't know that this person lifted more than 20 pieces of glass. Not that it would take more than one to do it, but something just seemed off.
Yeah.
So he quit, put in for a workman's comp claim. But it just so happened the next day after he quit because his back pain was so bad, this person was on Facebook playing a bass guitar at a concert in Cape Coral. And not only was he standing on stage, like playing the guitar, he looked like he could have been playing the bass guitar for Korn. Like he was headbanging and bouncing around, ready to get into a mosh pit. And I believe Dollar Bill had seen this, or someone had showed him. And
I showed it to him.
Yeah, and he used this to help.
I was the rat.
Refute the workman's comp. Well, the problem is, if with workman's compensation in a firm as large as ours, 198 people, if you go an entire year without putting a workman's comp claim in, there is a massive rebate that comes back to the company. And most good companies will somehow distribute that, whether it's through a massive end of the year party, a raise, the annual review raises, money can go towards
bonuses,
reinvestments within the company, new trucks, new machinery, new, clothing.
Right.
Yeah, so this kid was an absolute scumbag, but maybe he's related to the drug kingpin.
He could be. Well, I know both he and the kingpin's wife are now looking for a job. They need a real job.
Maybe they can go over to Costco. I see they've been in the news lately.
That's right. That's nuts, huh? Costco raising wages for most U.S. workers to $30 an hour.
Now, I love that there's a business out there that's willing to put a bottom line kind of, what do they call that? Minimum wage, if you will.
Yeah.
At a rate that's higher than anyone else in the country. I actually don't have a problem with that. My question is, are they being mandated to do that by the government?
I don't believe, no, they're not being mandated by the government.
So they're internally doing that.
What they're doing is setting a precedent,
They're setting a precedent. Okay, I mean, good for them. I mean, they're going to attract a lot more employment.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
But is there a correlation? Like, have we noticed a massive increase in the pricing of the goods and services at Costco? Is it completely tied to the raising of the minimum wage? Or are the greedy pig owners finally just saying, you know what, we should be paying people what they're worth, and we're going to raise their wages, but we're not going to raise the cost of the goods?
Okay, so there's two parts of that. So when you say paying people what they're worth, this is not based on merit. This is based on here's $30 an hour.
Oh.
So there's a difference. Obviously, you can start paying people at whatever you want. It brings in more people, brings in more talent. That's great. But when you start bumping them up like crazy on a meritless thing, that's where it becomes a problem. Interestingly enough, I saw something yesterday. It was a little bit older video of Representative Thomas Massey, and he was explaining how our dollar has gotten devalued and how inflation is happening. And the way he explained it is he took a glass of iced tea that was about half full, and he poured water in it. He's like, look, we got more iced tea. Doesn't taste the same, though.
Diluted.
It's diluted. And that's exactly what was happening with our dollar because we were printing more and more money. Well, the same thing's happening here when you start raising minimum wage, because if you got guys that are making $15 an hour to make a part, now all of a sudden they're making $40 an hour to make that same part. Well, guess what? The price of that part is going up. So I don't care how much more people over here are making, because the more money you're making, the more goods are costing you. So it offsets itself.
I see that.
And if you're an economist and I'm wrong, please tell me. But I don't believe that's the situation here.
Just a little footnote. I haven't gone to Costco in a little while, but I can tell you I'm a big shopper at Publix.
Yeah.
And I love Publix. Customer service is good. I believe Publix produces the most amount of millionaires every year because I think it's an ESOP. Everything about Publix I enjoy. But fuck, there's no eggs lately. And I keep asking questions. I'm here, well, there's a bird flu and this. I can't get a straight answer, but what is going on with all the eggs?
Good question.
I mean, in this day and age, we can't protect our... Again, this is something else that just seems too weird. And when I mean there's no eggs, the whole freezer, there had to be 7 columns in the freezer. They're empty. They're empty. There was nothing in there. This was yesterday.
You think people are just loading up on protein?
Well, I would hope to think that everybody's getting healthy now. And by the way, our new JFK Jr.
RFK Jr.
RFK
JFK Jr. is dead.
Good point. RFK Jr., the new health commission board.
Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
Potential.
Maybe he could. I thought he got confirmed. Not yet?
No.
Okay, well, when he does, maybe he can get to the bottom of this egg thing. I'm paying like $12 a dozen right now. I think it's going to be cheaper for us to get a couple chickens from Rural King and get a chicken coop out back here.
Stick them out there?
Yeah, start laying our own eggs.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of efficiency in the government, you know, we've got this Department of Government Efficiency. Lee County is implementing their own.
Is that the one with Elon Musk?
That is. Yeah. To control waste.
I can't wait.
Right here in Lee County, we have our own now. The Commission of Government Efficiency.
Okay.
To help find where we're misspending. And I think that's a great thing. I think it should happen everywhere. And if you look at the stuff have you seen the stuff that they were saying we're spending money on?
Okay, are you talking about Lee County or are you talking about our country in general?
Our country. Lee County is not started yet. Our country in general. Like,
I've seen different things over the years, and it's on certain studies and stuff like that. The amount of millions of dollars that we're throwing at shit is egregious.
Just this week, it came out that we were spending $45 million for scholarships in Burma.
For what?
U.S. taxpayers are spending $45 million for scholarships in Burma. No idea. But even more so, we spent $50 million in Gaza for condoms.
Oh, come on. Well, that's kind of appropriate. If you're going to be screwing the U.S. taxpayer, you might as well give somebody a condom. You know, what drives me crazy about stuff like this is us as United States citizens are mandated to pay our taxes or our fair share.
Yeah, we don't have a choice, and they tell us where it goes. We don't have a choice.
And yet,
or don't.
That money's leaving this country after that. And that infuriates me with the amount of homeless and drug addiction and infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's sad to know that this type of money is being thrown away on I mean, we're giving condoms to what, Hamas? Like what?
Maybe it can go to some of the farmers to produce more eggs.
Yes, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
Well, on the bright side, at least we're doing our part to bring more doctors to the world and prevent the spread of Hamas. Do you see this elementary school teacher?
Yes.
Teacher and principal?
Yes.
Here in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Yes. This is a far cry from when we had parties when we were in high school. If any adult even sniffed around the party, everybody was out of there. But this one's a little bit different.
If you haven't heard about this, an elementary school principal and teacher, 47 years old and 45 years old, were both arrested.
Where?
For
Cocoa Beach?
Cocoa Beach for throwing a party for over 100 kids and providing them alcohol. Now, the first question I have, they keep referring to the kids. So it came to light because one kid was having an alcohol-related medical incident on the lawn, and they said it was a teen. Now, last I checked, elementary school was up to 11 years old. So the question becomes, are these teachers giving alcohol to their elementary school students, or are these former students that have now kind of
But you said
moved on?
Teen.
Yeah.
Well, teen's not 21.
No, it's not. It's not right at all. I'm just curious if it's even worse if you're giving it to kids in elementary school. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, be honest. You were in high school.
Yeah.
Maybe you had a teacher or substitute teacher that, might have caught your attention.
Okay, well, hold on. I can tell you, I'm glad you brought that up, because I can tell you if these girls are giving alcohol to, whether they're elementary school, high school, whatever the hell they are, something more needs to be looked into, because I guarantee you they're banging at least one of them. I mean, the judgment that they have just to do this in the first place means they're drinking, they're providing alcohol, they're also drinking with them. So
I think that's just an appetizer to get to what they really want.
Yeah.
Now the question becomes, this is polarizing. I mean,
Great.
I hate this. I think the teachers have no business partying, hanging out, entertaining the kids after school, especially.
So they should do it during school?
Well, no, that should be the only time they're interacting with the kids, because
right.
other people are watching. You don't have to worry. Well, I don't want to say you have to worry about anything nefarious happening, but it's less likely to happen in the school confine than outside the school, especially when you're providing alcohol.
Agreed.
Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't have went to a party while in high school if it was a teacher that I wanted to hang out with.
100%. I mean, these are kids. Kids are going to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, half of us make bad decisions as adults.
This is true. This is true.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Do you ever have any teachers like that?
There was a couple teachers, one in junior high school in particular, and one in high school in particular, that was very easy on the eyes. Yeah, I wouldn't have been. Put it this way:
The football coach?
If one of my friends came to me and said, "Hey, Miss So and So, the science teacher, like she invited me over to her house this weekend," I'd have been like, "Holy shit! Don't tell anybody except for me, and you better be going over there." But if it was a guy teacher going after a girl, I probably would have beefed on the teacher for sure to get him in trouble. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't have had a problem with the male student in high school with the female teacher, but I'd have a major problem with the male student going with the teacher.
Of course.
Or the female student.
I mean, yeah, we have daughters.
Yeah, I'd kill him.
Yeah.
100% dead.
Yeah, well, we had one that was rumored to be that way. It was a male teacher, and it was actually after I graduated high school, but still a couple years after that, and you're hearing about it. And
scum.
Yeah, I can only imagine if the father found out.
What kind of beer were they giving the kids?
Probably Natty Ice.
Well, how about this next one?
You can drink beer at a teacher's party, but one place you can't drink beer, a beer commercial.
You were saying this, and I had never heard of this, but after saying it, I saw some commercials, and it's right.
So if any of you have seen this new commercial, I think it's supposed to really be airing during Super Bowl, but it's been out a little bit with Shane Gillis and Post Malone, and they're sitting in the driveway in lawn chairs, and Shane Gillis Post Malone's about to drink a beer, and Shane Gillis says, no, you can't. You got to wait till the commercial's over. And they kind of count down till the end of the commercial. Because you can't drink beer in a commercial. That is a real thing. So apparently
Is there like a commission within the...
I don't know exactly what it is, but in the beer world, they kind of self-govern, and they have decided that they want to promote responsible drinking. And so they feel that if people are drinking beer in their commercials, which is weird because that's what they're trying to sell, is doing just the opposite. So they do not allow them to drink beer during the commercials, which is weird because you'll see like whiskey commercials, or like there's the tequila commercial with Michael Imperioli, and he's drinking tequila, right? Like celebrities are always drinking the alcohol when it comes to liquor. But when it's beer, you never see anybody drinking beer. And I didn't realize that
They'll
until
show
I
them
saw
open
this.
it. They'll show the
crack
foam.
open.
They'll show the head on the beer.
It'll crack open and you'll see a little sweat on it. Or you see guys out, playing volleyball or,
throwing a beer.
Yeah, just doing,
But they're never drinking
guy shit. Yeah.
All right, so we should be looking for this year during the Super Bowl commercials, any beer commercials, to see if that's actually still happening. Be anxious to see that.
Well, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. It's Friday. I need to go drink some beer myself. Get a jump on scouting out all the e-bike paths around town.
Good luck with that. Be safe. And we want to thank you for watching this episode of Hard Hat Highlights. Please don't forget to subscribe to our new channel, or to our YouTube channel, GlazzGuy. Like, comment, and share. But until next time.
See you then.
Thank you.